Bobi Wine is missing. Sorry, I mean he's hiding.
Well, I am in hiding following a raid at my house by the military.
After Uganda's election, Bobi Wine says he's no longer free and that his life may be in danger. The January 15, 2026 election in Uganda was marked by tension, intimidation, and campaign restrictions.
I'm not committing any crime. I am going to campaign.
Despite these challenges, opposition leader Bobi Wine made his voice heard, rallying supporters even as arrests and harassment escalated. The people, especially Uganda's youth, vowed they will never give up until the will of the people was reflected in the ballot box. But after reports of faulty machines and internet blackouts, President Museveni was declared the winner with 71.65% of the votes. It was a shock to many Ugandans. Museveni, who has ruled the country since 1986, was announced the president once again. But the story didn't stop there. Bobi Wine, who had vowed to reject and protest any rigged election, took to social media to challenge the results and attempted to mobilize his supporters. Shortly after, he disappeared to an undisclosed location, saying his life was in danger. Now, Bobi Wine is not only facing serious security concerns, he has been openly threatened and even warned against contesting in future elections. This is no longer just about one politician. It raises a deeper question. What happens to opposition voices after elections in Uganda? I'm Timzy, and this is the African Discovery. In the days following the election, Bobi Wine released a series of statements describing what he calls an escalating crackdown on his movement, his family, and party officials. He says his home was under siege, his movements are restricted, and several of his top aides are either missing or detained. Bobi Wine has shared CCTV footages showing armed forces raiding his home immediately after the election results were announced, results he and his supporters rejected. He also released videos allegedly showing election rigging, including electoral staff manually taking votes. Bobi Wine says 3 of his 4 deputy presidents are currently not free. His deputy president for Western Uganda, Mama Jolly Jacqueline, was reportedly abducted from Rukiga district while running as a parliamentary candidate. Military forces allegedly confiscated all her materials, including appointment letters for agents and funds to facilitate them. Her whereabouts remains unknown. Deputy President for Northern Uganda, Dr. Lina Zedriga, is also missing after being abducted by the military. Deputy President for Central Region, Honorable Muwanga Kuvumbi, was arrested and is being held in Kira Division Police. Bobi Wine has vowed not to go to court, claiming the judiciary is under the president's control. He also raised concerns about veteran opposition leader Dr. Kizza Besigye, saying his health has deteriorated in detention due to lack of proper medical care.
Winnie Byanyima is worried about her husband. Opposition politician Kizza Besigye has been in prison since November, charged with treason, an offense that carries the death penalty. This is the latest picture of him in Luzera prison.
For many Ugandans, this has revived fear among how political detainees are treated. Some observers have questioned the accuracy of Bobi Wine's statement, suggesting they may be exaggerated. However, shocking social media posts by President Museveni's son, Muhoozi, who is the current chief of defense force, seems to confirm some of these claims. Muhoozi reportedly boasted about violent actions against opposition supporters, called some victims terrorists, and declared that Bobi Wine was the next target. His statement appeared unafraid of public scrutiny, adding weight to the opposition leader's warning. Tensions escalated further with a series of posts from Muhoozi. In addition to boasting about previous attacks, he issued a 48-hour ultimatum for Bobi Wine to turn himself in. While no official actions was taken by the government, Bobi Wine claims these threats are real, especially with armed forces stationed around his home.
I escaped from my own house following a raid that was carried out by the military and police at my home on the orders of Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Museveni's son, and the Chief of Defense Forces. We had gotten earlier intelligence from our friends within the army that he had issued orders to his men to come and harm me. So when we saw them jumping over our fence on the night of 16th January, I somehow escaped from my home and left.
According to Bobi Wine, soldiers stationed inside his compound banged on doors late at night, issued insults and threatened residents. Food deliveries were blocked, padlocks cut and replaced with chains, leaving his wife, children and supporters without access to basic necessities. Bobi Wine vowed to organize protests if the elections were rigged, but says the government attempted to prevent any opposition demonstrations. He fled his home in Wakiso district when President Museveni was announced the winner. The situation escalated further after President Yoweri Museveni's son Muhoozi publicly suggested that Bobi Wine should be barred from contesting in future elections, citing what he described as national security concerns. The statement alarmed many observers as it appeared to signal a military-backed exclusion of an opposition figure from the democratic process. Amid these developments, Bobi Wine is believed to be in an undisclosed location, with his ally saying the decision was made purely for his safety as threats against him intensified. President Yoweri Museveni has always rejected these accusations, claiming Bobi Wine violated public order, laws, and describing police violence against supporters as a mistake. Museveni also stated that millions of his own supporters did not show up, suggesting he was disadvantaged, not the opposition. This situation goes beyond Bobi Wine as an individual. It raises critical questions about political freedom in Uganda, the role of military in civilian politics, and how opposition voices are treated after elections. Public threats and private arrests show how fear can be used as a political tool.
I'm not in my home because my life is threatened. I take this opportunity, first of all, to thank the international community for the voices that they've raised, but to also encourage them to keep an eye on Uganda, especially at this critical time. To you fellow Ugandans, this is our country. All this is being done to intimidate us. We must never give up. Uganda is our country and we must fight and liberate it. I will resurface at an appropriate time to forward our struggle. In the meantime, I'm not home because I'm trying to keep safe, I'm trying to keep alive, and I want to keep communicating to you.
Bobi Wine says the struggle continues, not just for him, but for Uganda's future. Whether these claims lead to accountability or silence may be defined by the country's political direction for years to come. My name is Timsy, and this is the African Discovery.